It's crazy to me because I made a post on, a couple of different platforms, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram, about which brunch do you prefer? The brunch that the girls had with Fatima back in episode 2. What was it? The uh, boozy brunch, or the birthday brunch they had at the penthouse for Sabrina's birthday. And strangely enough, I kept seeing a recurring comment across all those platforms. You know what? Those girls ought to be ashamed of themselves. Andy, Sabrina, and Danny. They're trash friends for, having brunch with Fatima instead of Karen. And I don't really see the trash part. I personally don't. It's just that, like Danny said, when Karen opted to give the women attitude during her salon grand opening, Karen was invited to the brunch. And she just bowed out. It's like, look, hey, as well as I do, that brunch just means all of y'all going to get drunk and everything. And I can't, obviously, because I'm pregnant and I'd feel like the odd one out. So even though Dan's like, hey, are you sure about it? No, I'm not. No. And it's like, I'm not going. That's it. So then, because she didn't come, even though she was extended an invitation, they kind of filled in the gap with Fatima. And then, just like what Zach said after Fatima got home for the brunch, is like, so was Karen there? No. So did they just ask you to come because Karen didn't show up? Yeah. Almost in a way like, this has happened a few times before over the course of the 3-month time skip, that Fatima was kind of like a bench warmer. And whenever Karen wasn't out on the court playing the game with the rest of the other girls, then she will be called in. So it's almost like, she's the friend in reserve in case Karen, couldn't show up for one reason or another, or just decided not to. So to me, I wouldn't even say that the women are being bad friends to Karen. It's like they're being, wishy-washy friends with Fatima, as in, hey, we only want to hang out with you when Karen isn't available. However, it's understandable because they know Fatima and Karen in the same room would just cause a lot of friction. So to me, and look, I'm not trying to be mean to Karen here, but I think there should come a decision soon where it's like, okay, so we either stick with Karen or we just opt to hang with Fatima. And if Karen has a problem with that, then deuces, because it's almost like, hey, we're seeing someone else behind your back. But I don't feel bad, because Karen has this thing where she feels like she can dictate who the other women can be friends with. So it's like, because Karen has issues with Fatima, then the other women can't be friends with her because she has a problem with it. And it's like, y'all are almost, what, as Andy said, we're all the same age. So y'all are damn near 40 and still having these freaking ego issues with Karen. Like, no, we too grown for this. If I want to be friends with Fatima, I'm going to be friends with Fatima. And if you don't want to hang out with us when Fatima's around, hey, that's all. Well, that's your choice. But don't be mad because we're having a good time with Fatima just because remember, she was invited. Karen decided not to show up. And guess what? Karen decided to show up on her own and then got in her feelings when she saw the other girls having a good time with Fatima. Because it's like, oh yeah, I bet she looked like, when was the last time they laughed like that when I was around? Yeah, because your ass too sensitive. Now, I know this is a random example, but if you remember the Jacksons in American Dream, Joe Jackson and Michael didn't have the best father-son dynamic. There was one particular scene where the Jackson Five were in the recording studio with not Quincy Jones, Barry Gordy, and Mike touched one of the buttons on the sound booth, and Joe like literally just got on him about that. It's like, you know how much this stuff costs? So basically he snapped on Michael. So then Barry, out in I think it was Joe went off. He went somewhere. He had to do something. But then, Barry came up to Mike just, to kind of, just put his hand on his back, shoulder, like, hey, hey, you don't want to mess up the sound now, right? We want to make sure we get this just right. He's like, yeah, yeah. So Joe, from a distance, saw through a window how instead of being like a disciplinarian figure, Barry came over there with understanding, just say, hey, just don't touch that button because we want to make sure the music's right. He saw Michael laughing and smiling at him like, yeah, that's how a dad is supposed to do it. It's like when I show that tough love, I scare my kid, but Barry's able to have a connection with Michael that I don't. So it's almost the same kind of thing where Karen feels like the dictator of the group. And it's like, hey, I am Karen, hear me roar. And the girls are pretty much, on eggshells whenever she's around. But the moment she's not there, they have this new girl and they just having the time of their lives and she can't stand that. And honestly, that's a Karen problem. Now, I can somewhat see the argument of, yeah, maybe these friends are bad because, they're talking about the Karen stuff, about the baby behind her back. But it's like, like Danny said, Fatima's a cool chick. She could have been part of this group, but you're the one with the drama. So, yeah, folks, in some aspects, I can see why people would say Andy and the others are bad friends, but at the end of the day, it's a Karen problem. She's the one who has the issues. She's the one who got the invite but didn't come. So why blame the girls for inviting Fatima? Like I said, I feel like it's almost like they're being more unfair to Fatima than they are to Karen by only hanging out with Fatima when Karen isn't available. But I don't know. I feel like this could open the door for a good discussion. And it really isn't about character bias because, we love Fatima, so we'd rather see the girls with Fatima than Karen. No, I think when you really peel back the layers, we can have a good discussion about this. So with that being said, like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next video.